Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Abe with MysticGenmara.com, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho. And tonight, whenever you happen to be seeing this, I would like to offer your elemental rune reading for January 4th through the 10th. These are general readings, so take what works and leave the rest for someone else. I read intuitively, but we will check with the book to get some of the keywords because the runes are a little more intensive on some things. And if you are curious as to why I read for the runes or elements versus the zodiac, there's a link in the description. You can check out a video I did on that. With that, we will get started with our fire family. Fire covers the zodiac signs of Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So all of our salamanders out there, we are starting you off with the Jira rune, which is the rune of the year. Color is light blue, tarot association is the Fool, and astrology is Earth, so this is a complementary energy for you. It's signifying the cycles of nature and life, something coming to fruition, and effort receiving its reward. But we also have this energy of something new is starting, which is great because it's the first full week of the new year. So you've got this energy of shifting, changing, and growth, but it's wrapping up something like an old pattern, and then you're starting to weave a new one. So this is actually a really positive energy, and with Earth coming in as well, this could be something foundational, like working on a promotion, a new business. It could be a deepening of a relationship, or even expanding the family. So there's a couple of different ways you can look at that. Your second rune is the Perth rune, which is the rune of fate. Color is black. Tarot association would be Wheel of Fortune. Excuse me. And astrology is Saturn. Mystery, chance, unexpected material gains, surprises, something hidden coming to light. So with these two energies coming together, you do have some say in things because that's the Fool and that energy. But with this Perth rune coming in with fate, you might be able to change and adjust a few things, but whatever you have set up to begin, it's going to have to work through a process before it comes out of this. This is one of those things where it just has to go this way for a period of time. With Saturn, there's also this energy that comes in of a little bit more of that disciplinarian aspect where you're really not going to be able to push too hard against whatever pops up this week because it's necessary for your spiritual, possibly financial growth as well. So this week could be a little bit of a challenge for our fire family, but it's not saying it's going to be a challenge in a negative way. It's more of a challenge to help you make sure you're ready for what's coming. It's not so, oh, you've been bad, fire. No, it's you really want this? Okay. Now you have to prove that you want it. So get ready for a little bit of pushback on this week, but it's not something you're going to be able to dodge. These are general readings, so take what works. But that fate energy coming in is saying, oh, no, you put your foot on this path. This is where you're headed. So now we're into this canyon. This is where you're going. And oh, by the way, as you go forward, it closes behind you. So make sure everything is grounded for you as you go forward, because when it comes out of this, the energy I'm feeling right now is it will be improving, but there has to be this little bit of a test or trial to access that. And we'll hop over to our Earth family. Earth is Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. So if you're Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, or have Earth high in your charts, we are going to be looking at the which one? Wrong page. There we go. Sorry. The Dagaz rune, which is the rune of the day. Tarot color is light blue. Tarot association is Temperance or Judgment. And astrology is the dark moon, awakening and clarity. It indicates success, prosperity, and abundance in all things in life. Well, with this one, the temperance energy, I also use judgment or discernment as a term for it. This is that making sure that you're making the right decisions. So Earth, this is really about you being able to see in the dark. The new moon energy is reminiscent of you're starting something new, just like fire. So you guys might be, if it's an Earth-fire relationship, there could be a lot of new things popping up. But Earth is going to have an easier go of this. We'll just make that clear right here. But you have this ability to discern right from wrong, or to find a balance in your life, and that is going to serve you very well in this week, especially. And when you do click into that balanced state, that's when the doors open up to this prosperity and abundance aspect. And that looks different for everybody. So it's not just about, those wonderful dollar bills, but it could be about the feeling of abundance because you have an awesome life. You have the spouse, you have the house, you have the job, whatever it is. So the abundance aspect is not just one version. It's what's abundance for you, Earth. It doesn't matter what the other people are thinking. What's working for you? So your second rune is the Rado rune, which is the rune of a long journey on horseback. Color is bright red. Tarot association is the Hierophant, and astrology is Sagittarius. Earth and fire are working together. I feel like you guys did this last week too. Indicates physical journeys, pleasant ones, journeys that bring positive development, and it also can be a spiritual or emotional journey as well. So this could be some inner work that's going on this week. But with these two runes coming together, because you have basically seize the day, and then you also have the long journey, you're setting whatever you're doing right now, and the options that you are taking, the choices you are making, this is setting you up for that long journey. If you have the vision board or the resolution this year to really start meditating every day, reading your spiritual text every day, whether it's going to the gym every day, whatever that is doing, you're setting it up this week. You're really getting into a habit form. The one thing they're saying is you want to make sure you're doing your habit consistently for 3 weeks. That way it'll lock in and stay. So you want to make sure whatever you get going, you're going forward with. But the energy I'm getting is this is the week where you're starting this process. It's not going to be a resolution in a week. It's a resolution for the year. You're basically trying to find a way to better your circumstances, better yourself, better everything around you, really. So you're wanting to anchor that higher frequency light into this now moment. So tap into that energy, follow your intuition, and really observe what is working and what isn't. And if you set a resolution, this is where you write that resolution down. You put it somewhere big, like you write it on a piece of construction paper and you stick it to your bathroom mirror. You build the vision board around this resolution. Whatever it is, that way it's constantly in front of you where you see it. Put it at the back of your phone as a screensaver. That way you can see, this is what I'm working on. This is what I'm working on. And set timers if that's even something. Like you want to do the meditation or reading your spiritual text every day. Set a timer. That way you know, oh, nope, I've got to go take care of this, And that's what you're trying to get the habit built this week. You're starting the habit building this week. So that's pretty fun, Earth. Let's hop over to Air, which is Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, all of our sylph energy out there. And you guys and gals are starting off with the Iawaz rune, which is the rune of the yew tree. Color is dark blue. Tarot association is the Hanged Man, so you're working with water. And astrology is Scorpio, protection, a time of death and rebirth, foresight, and perseverance. The Hanged Man is a call to change your perspective, Air. If there's something that you've been doing and really paying attention to and focusing on, and nothing's changing, and it's because it's time to flip the script. Sometimes you have to turn it completely upside down to be able to actually see what's happening here. But you also have Scorpio, which is kind of the fire of water. So you've got this energy of almost protection, but also aggression. And when you tie all this together, you're really calling in this energy of, it is time to cast away the previous year, the last whatever's going on. And you're stepping into this higher esteemed state. So, Air, you really want to make sure you're getting clear on this. We'll check your second rune here in a second and find out what else it has. But this is where all the lessons that you've learned, all the experiences you've had, have created this amazing wisdom. I don't care if you're 20 or 99. You've built a wisdom path here. And now you get to use that with intuition, which is where that water comes in, because that's more of a water-based thing. And you can really activate and anchor this next stage of your life with this, because I'm getting this feeling that you're going to need that stability and that ability to foresee what's coming. And really, air, in a lot of ways, the intuitive part for you is going to see and recognize patterns, which is great because you'll be able to figure this out a lot quicker than some people will. So, your second rune is the Isa rune, which is the rune of ice. Color is black, tarot association is the hermit, and astrology is the moon. It's some kind of obstacle, a coldness between people, and a time to observe, keep silent, refrain from comment. So, air, you have this knowledge, you have this wisdom, but you don't get to talk about it. To know, to dare, to do, to be silent is the energy we're getting here. And with this Isa and the hermit, you also have the energy of the moon. You're still calling in this water aspect. So, air, if you've got a water person close to you, a partner, a spouse, or you have water that's like your secondary in your chart, this is where tapping into that is going to be such a blessing. The hermit is a call to step away. It is a call to pull away from things, not be involved, observe. If you've seen the original tarot, he's holding a lantern. It's because he's looking at a path for him. He's not guiding anyone else. By his adventure or her adventure, you will show them the way, but you're not doing it intentionally. You're pulling away for a reason. Whatever's going on in your life this week, it's not about being in the middle of everything. Isa is saying, pause all of the social stuff. You've done a lot of that. Now it's time to step back. There's things at play, and it's best to observe, to see what the moving parts are, so that you can make informed informed steps accordingly. But if you're in the midst of everything, you're not going to see. There may be a deviation that will save you some time. There may be a deviation that allows you to bypass another problem. So you want to judiciously step away from things this week so that you can really set your eyes on that bigger picture observation. So let's hop over to our water family, which is Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, all of my fishies out there. We are going to be starting you with the Othila rune, which is the rune of ancestral property. Color is deep yellow, tarot association is the moon, and astrology is full moon, so this is really strong water energy. Possessions and inheritances, real property, inherited abilities or traits. Water, if you've been that one who, I had this problem growing up, you always were kind of looked at as the weirdo. Oh, that's where great aunt fill in the blank. That's where it ended up, is in you, because that's an inherited trait, whether that's intuition, that ability to just know things. Sometimes it's the ability to understand conversations when you're like 6 that you should not be understanding, or this weird ability to just pick up on something. Like you can walk into a room and be like, who's mad? Even though there's no verbal going on, you know that there's a problem. Things like that is where that inherited traits are coming in. I'm not feeling strongly with this week right now for a physical inheritance, like an estate or something like that coming in. It could be for some of you, but the one that's really popping off this week for water is the inherited abilities and traits. They're wanting to focus on this intuitive side of things, but it could also be like your artistic ability, your cooking ability, your ability to stand up and speak in front of people, because that is not something everyone has. So it could be a lot of things, even though right now the focus and the energy I'm getting is more on your spiritual gifts, your clairs, your ability to understand chakras and energy fields. So see how that ties into the second rune here we're going to look at. But it's really a call to tap into those inherited traits this week. Play with them if you haven't, or maybe meditate on them and see what source is trying to bring through for you, because it's your inherited traits are the priority this week. Your second energy is the Thurazaz rune, which is the rune of the god of strength. Color is bright red, tarot association is the Emperor, and astrology is Mars. So you've got divine masculine energy and Mars, which is fire, coming in. So there could be a challenge going on here. Protection, someone providing help, good news may come in. Water, when you start working with these energies, you might need a guide. You might need someone who's a little more no nonsense. That's where that divine masculine, they're going to call it as they see it. And with fire coming in, it could also be someone who helps inspire your passion for it. It could be someone who's coming in to inspire this need for change in your life. So as you're going forward this week, really focus on your side of things, which is this one over here. You want to focus on what are your traits, how are they going to expand, how are you showing up in the world, because the Thursaz that's coming forward here is saying there's someone coming into your life who is a fire energy, divine masculine, Emperor Mars, bright red, so pay attention to colors as you're going forward here too, because this person is going to inspire, trigger, or awaken the key to your inherited abilities. You know that they're there. God source is working with you. Your guides and guardians are working with you. So that's all coming into a clear space. But this Thursaz energy, this God of strength energy that's coming in, this fire sign masculine energy that's coming forward, it's going to be the catalyst, the key, the thing that basically strikes the match and sets you up to burn, which is positive in this aspect, not negative, because you're going to be able to take it so far, but you're going to be hit this one wall where you can't quite see the other side. You can't quite figure out what would be over there. But this is going to be the person that's coming in to really wake it up, to trigger that response. So be aware that this week is not... It's going to be an inner week with an outer challenge. We'll call it that. And that's, again, that sounds a little negative and frustrating, but it's not meant to be, because there's definitely a shift occurring for water this week. So as we go forward, all energies here, just checking in what's going on collectively. There's definitely an energy of shifting and changing, which has been kind of common here lately. But this one is going to really take your spiritual inner world and pull it out. It's going to bring it to the forefront. So instead of just staying in your heads, now it's time to start acting on it in the physical world. This energy is calling you because God's source has seen you've put out the petitions, you've started the affirmations, you've set up the resolutions. Now it's time to put the feet to the pavement, really start to do the things that you've been wanting to do. And as you go forward this week, talk to your guides, talk to God's source, really connect, because all of this energy that's here to support you is saying, we're waiting, where are you? And so they're just hanging out, trying to catch your attention however they might do it. You might see feathers, you might see repeating numbers, 444, 777, things like that. Whichever those are, that's when source is trying to tap you on the shoulder, being like, hi, this is one of those things we were talking about, or this is the thing that you've been meditating on. Pay attention to what's going on right here. With the exception of Air, who's being asked to pull away, everyone else is going to be a little bit more of a social week for you. So with that, I will let you guys and gals go. Have a great rest of your week. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.